There is a minhag that was quite common among several Orthodox religious denominations, that at the top of every written document one would include the words B'siyata D'Shmaya. The point of this inscription, usually in abbreviated form Beit Samach Dalad, comes as a reminder that everything comes from God, including the following content. It also contextualizes what's really important in the text, that without God's help we can do nothing of eternal value. Some substitute the Aramaic for the Hebrew counterpart, Be'ezrat Hashem, usually in abbreviated form, Bet Ayin Hey, or alternatively Bet Hey, or BH, which is generally translated as by the grace of God. This custom, this minhag, can be traced back to a statement made in the Toldot Yitzchak, a sefer written by the uncle of Rabbi Yosef Karo, that the inscription Beit Hey accords with the pasuk in Mishlei that states, B'chol derachecha doyehu, in all of your ways acknowledge him, so that v'hu yeyasher orchotecha, that he will yashar, he will direct your paths, give you guidance in all your endeavors. And it is this reciprocal arrangement that we shall now explore. A parallel inscription for some is the Lamed Hey Vav, which is an acrostic to the three words recorded in Sefer Tehillim 24:1, LaHashem ha'aretz umloya, the translation of which is, to Hashem belongs the earth and its fullness, Tevel, the inhabited land, V'yoshvei ba, and those who dwell in it. That all creation is subsumed to the force of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To illustrate this point, there is a commentary recorded in the Art Scroll translation of Sefer Tehillim with respect to this pasuk that quotes an incident recorded in Masechet Shabbat 119a, in which we are told that Ba'a Minei Rabbi, mi Rabbi Yishmael, the Rabbi Yossi, none other than Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, presented an interesting theological question to Rabbi Yishmael, in which he asked, in what merit do the Ashirim Shebe'eretz Yisrael, the wealthy living in Eretz Yisrael, what is it that they have done to merit that wealth? He went on to ask the same question regarding those living Shebebavel, and then Shebeshar Artsot, Jews living not in Eretz Yisrael, not in Bavel, but in other communities scattered in the then known world. Amalei, the response given by Rabbi Ishmael, was that the zechut of those living in Eretz Yisrael came on account of their commitment to mitzvat maaser. The zechut of those living in Bavel resulted from their commitment to Torah. The wording is shemechavdin et haTorah. They hold the Torah and the study thereof in high regard. And the zchut of those living in Chutz La'aretz was shemechavdin et HaShabbat. They place a great degree of honor and respect in the observance of Yom HaShabbat. The Gemara then goes on to cite a very interesting example in support of the link between Shabbat and wealth, an incident involving Rabbi Chia bar Abba, who pa'amachat nitarachti etzel bal habayit beludkiya, happened to be present at the home of a wealthy Bal Habayit in Ludkia, I assume not in Eretz Yisrael nor in Bavel. V'hevi lefanav shulchan shel zahav. They prepared a meal on a table of gold, and the entire banquet was one of opulence and wealth. The Gemara goes on to record that ukushamanichi moto, when they placed all the various dishes upon the table, and before the meal began, omrim, either he, the Balabayit, or one to whom he had designated the responsibility, formally began the banquet with the words from Tehillim, LaHashem ha'aretz umloya, that all this wealth comes by the grace of God. Similarly, when they ended the meal and he or the master of ceremonies announced to one and all, Hashamayim Shemaim LaHashem v'haaretz natan livnei Adam. All that is before us belongs to God, and by the grace of God we have been able to participate in this meal. This opulence obviously impressed Rabbi Chia and asked him, B'ni, my son, what was it that you did for which you have received this wealth? Amar lo, in response he told him, Katzav Hayiti, once upon a time I was a butcher, Umikol behem shahayit na'eh, whenever an exceptionally fine animal came into my possession, rather than sell it to others, Amarti Zutahei Shabbat, I will designate this animal for Su'udat Shabbat. In other words, my wealth came as a result of my constantly looking for ways in which to honor the day of Shabbat. Amarti lo, in response I blessed him, Ashrecha shezachita, that you have merited all of this, Ubaruch hamakom, blessed be the Almighty, shezichecha lekach, that in your merit has given you this wealth. What clearly emerges from the story is one of the fundamental aspects within Orthodox Judaism, that wealth comes from God, the keli, the container for God's blessing and source of income was the occupation, but within that occupation there was a constant awareness of God, and in turn God reciprocates by allowing his work, his business, to flourish.